Hey, it's Bill, and you're tuned into the Pennsylvania Rock Show, featuring the best unsigned rock and metal that Pennsylvania has to offer, right here on PARockShow.com, MegaRockRadio.net, 107.1 FM, St. Louis, Missouri, AltRockRadio.ca, Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, XRP Radio.co.uk, RootarooRadio.com, and BuildAScene.com. This is episode number 562 of the Pennsylvania Rock Show. With me tonight is Tizz from xrpradio.co.uk. Or as he told me earlier, ZERP, like the Smurfs.
Yeah, well, why not? I had to say, I struggled to hold my tongue there when you said XRP Radio. I was going to be like, woo, yeah! But the professional in me kind of grabbed my tongue and stopped me from speaking.
So sometimes when I introduce your station, I mention that Ozzy is from there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, somewhat. The stigma is still with the Brummies, most definitely. It's strange though, we're not we've probably got a more American team now than British team. I think I am the only Birmingham-based DJ on team as we speak. So yeah, big change around in our team recently.
Well, that explains why you're willing to be doing this at 2:30 in the morning your time.
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock to me. It's just like you, mate. Don't worry about it.
So I guess the first question I want to ask is, you approached me about playing my show. How did you even hear about my show?
Now it would have came from one of two things. Either, this was quite a while ago now, actually. We were deciding to rebuild our 24/7 stream, and we were determined not to go down the route of having an auto DJ on, because I really dislike that. Looking at most other stations, they tend not to great listenership there, and it's kind of meant for filler material, just so when someone tunes into the station, there's something on, so they don't think it's broken. And I really didn't want to go that way, so we did a big outreach program, which failed, to be honest with you. We're like, who wants some airplay? And I think we were a bit, we've been running for 14 years, but we had a little bit of a hiatus in between while we rebuilt the company into what it is today. So I think people were a bit dubious of this seemingly quite new on the same station going, we want all of your content. So it would have been one of two things. It would have been on recommendation from possibly a few bands in the area. I know from back in those 14 years ago days, we worked with bands like Paintbox, which are around your area. So it may have been from that. The other thing is I sat down for hours and searched iTunes and searched unsigned music shows on iTunes, and literally step by step went through every single one, did my little bit of research, listened to them, and we came across the PA Rock Show, knew that we had a small following in Pennsylvania anyway, and just thought, well, the two companies seem to match up quite nicely. And then after seeing the stuff that you do with Build the Scene and First Angel as well, it was just like, okay, we're having you now. We want you. You don't have a choice in the matter. If you'd have said no, I would have probably continued to pursue you until you just submitted, to be honest.
It's kind of cool to hear you mention First Angel. I'm terrible at mentioning First Angel Media, which is hilarious because I'm the vice president of First Angel Media. But I think Build the Scene first.
Yeah, it has to be said. One thing I will say about First Angel Media is you are very much in my inbox to the point where I don't think I could have not mentioned you. I don't think it would have been possible. The outreach emails that you do on behalf of artists are absolutely fantastic. And my response emails are probably not quite as fantastic, but we do get quite a lot over here. but yeah, First Angel Media promotion. If you're looking for artist representation, I'm not being paid to say this, but definitely worth taking a look at, because just from a radio programmer point of view, the emails that we get have all the information that we need. They're presented in the right manner, and they're not just like the typical kind of email blast that we get elsewhere. So you can rub my belly later on, Bill.
Well, since we're talking about outreach, you do a little bit of that. You want to touch upon what you do as far as getting information out to the world?
So yeah, I mean, XRP Radio is first and foremost a broadcasting agency. So it's the typical online exposure and promotion of bands, getting people to literally hear music. But because we're a small independent, obviously, a lot of our listenership comes from the work that we do on social media platforms and networking platforms. So yeah, we, through trying to expand the station's listenership through that, we ended up somewhat naturally learning a lot about social media and how that works. And my background prior to XRP Radio was, I mean, I've got degrees in marketing, branding, and brand awareness, brand management. So it was just kind of natural to link the two together. And we ended up creating kind of a promotional package that uses the social media and the networks that we've kind of created on them to help do outreach on behalf of artists for kind of undercutting. The idea is to undercut the price that you pay on Facebook for boost posting and stuff like that, to go and we all know when we click that Facebook boost post button, we end up getting 700 people from India and Braslavia and whatever like your post, and it looks good until you click on the likes and realize these likes seem very fake generated. And I don't care what anyone says, but even Facebook use like farms. I'm sorry, Facebook, it's the truth. So we try and make sure that we're engaging independent bands with independent music fans specifically. So yeah, it's all kind of based around that. Yeah.
Real quick. Hi, Chris. It's Chris Thunderwolf Dotson from Wolf's Customs.
Hello, Chris. I really hope that is your real middle name.
He is a Native American, so there's a good chance that it could be. He does custom work on guitars and basses and drums, and they do finishes on it. His wife Raven does hand painting, and he does hollow flash finishes. And you can check them out at wolfscustoms.online. And
we've got Thunderwolf and Raven. Come on.
Yes. And you might want to read that one.
Oh, right. Yes, we have a message from my beautiful girlfriend for all of her support and help. And I've got her on a call actually on the side, and she's laughing, probably not realizing that this is a visual stream and it comes up in big, massive letters. So thank you for that embarrassment. Oh dear.
It's not his real middle name. It was given to him by an elder.
Very cool. Still cool. And again, Thunderwolf and Raven, you can't go wrong there, can you? That's a power couple name if I've ever heard one.
So why don't you tell the artists that are going to be listening how that they can get airtime on the station?
So we are very liberal with our airtime is the easiest way to put it. We have a selection of shows, 3 specific shows, but other ones are included. So I run a tagged show on a Tuesday. This is going to be confusing to some because I'm going to do this all Britishified, but 7 till 11 p.m. GMT. I think that's about 2 till 6-ish or 3 till 7-ish or something around those lines.
What did you say the times were again?
7 till 11 p.m. GMT.
So yeah, 2 to 6.
2 to 6. So I do that on a Monday, on a Tuesday and a Saturday night. or afternoon for you guys. And I play every one track from every artist that has submitted recently. I don't listen to them beforehand. I will not let my stigma and my personal preference get in the way of it. The one thing that you will guaranteed get is a completely honest review at me. So upload at your own duress, as it were. I'm typically constructive in my criticism, but certain things I have been rather extremely critical about. I do warn you. But we do give everything a fair chance, and quite often I'll turn around and go, I don't really like this. And our chat box, which is kind of one of the big focuses for us, jumps on and goes, you're wrong. I mean, I'm not a big country music fan, but I'll play the country music, and many people will turn around to me and go, you're wrong, this is a great track. Which I think is kind of one of the great things about XRP. We're a big group. It's not just a group of any specific genre across the board. We do have genre-specific shows, and as you're more of a rock and metal basis, I can shout out things like the Kilogic Effect and Graven's Metal Vault, which are also places where any musician out there can get airplay for those genres. But in short, if you want to get involved, get onto the website at xrpradio.co.uk. Sign up for an it's there. It's more over my side than yours.
Yeah, it's hard to point to.
It's okay. This website or this one. Oh, this mirror image thing is doing my head. So go to that website, create an artist account using the login sign up button in the top right hand corner of the screen. Once you've created your account, make sure you create an artist account if you want to upload. Again, in your profile menu, a bit like Facebook, you click on the little circle of your profile picture in the top right hand corner of the screen. You'll get a drop down menu and you'll have the ability to create albums and upload tracks. Once you do that, our current turnaround, typically you'll get your first airplay within 7 days, give or take. And if not in one of my tag shows, then we have another new submission show called Showy McShowface, which I hate the name of, by the way. Long British story behind that one. And we'll definitely give you some airplay pretty swiftly. If you fit in with some of the genre specific shows, usually our DJs all listen to the new submission shows and start pulling artists across from them as well. But again, if you want to get on a specific show, we have a contact us form on the site where you can request that as well. So yeah, loads of different options for you to get involved.
So in the video chat currently, Shock Frenzy is in there. They are a I want to say rock, we'll call them rock band from Ohio that popped up and showed their face. They've been coming on the live shows a lot recently, so I want to tell them thank you for hanging out with us.
Good to meet you, Shock Frenzy. Come and we will also play you. We have lots of little niches and holes for you to cram your music into people's ear holes. So yeah, we'd love to hear some of your stuff at some point.
They are actually at the end of they're the last song on this week's show.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
Which doesn't happen often because they are not from Pennsylvania, but they were friends with the band that was featured. They were on an episode. Oh, it's Tad. Hi, Tad. They were on an episode of my other podcast, 3 Questions and a Song.
Right. Yeah.
That one, much like some of your other shows, is all genres from anywhere. But, so what if someone wanted to add a show to your schedule? How would they go about that?
The most important thing to us is we're 100% unsigned and independent. So that's the first thing. If you're thinking about, we are quite strict on this. We don't play covers. There has been the sneaky one that's passed by our filters, but I mean, we're all very dedicated to the independent industry. And if you named me anything off the top 40, for instance, I don't have a clue about it. So we do get things that sneak past, but again, covers, no major labels. And we, even when we're doing interviews, we stray away from doing the artists that influence people kind of section. We're quite strongly dedicated to the independent industry. So that's the first thing. Make sure that your show is independent. 2, make sure it's conforms to a vague time structure. So we don't want one that's like 30 minutes one week and want one that's 3 hours the next week, because it's just impossible. But after that, send us, again, we've got the contact us form on the website. Go there, send us an inquiry. Make sure that you put your link to your show in there, because otherwise we've got nothing to reference. And typically within kind of 2 to 4 weeks, we'll have got through listening to it, and we'll give you an outreach email on how we're going to go forward from there. Sometimes we do ask, like, we like your show, but there's certain compliance issues that we have to tackle, and as long as you're happy with doing that, then we move forward.
Let's talk a little bit about the history of the station. You said that it's 14 years old.
Yeah, 14 years. Would you believe it?
Well, this show is 16 years old, so I can believe it.
Wow, damn it. I thought we were the oldest. My dreams have been shattered.
Now, I did have a hiatus, just like you did. I had a 2-year-old son and twin newborns, so it went on a hiatus for about a little over a year at that point.
It happens. So history. I mean, I think I've said history, and my computer decided that I'd said, "Hey Siri." So sorry, distraction. How'd
you get started?
By accident.
That same here.
Massive accident. So XRP original first instance was XRP Music Studios, where I was lead producer for the studios. And because being in Birmingham, we ended up having a ridiculous amount of studio requests from Birmingham, Alabama, weirdly. So we ended up teaming up with a studio over there that was getting loads of requests for Birmingham, England, by happy chance. And we ended up sharing jobs overseas. We then ended up teaming up with, funny enough, a small unknown studio in Pennsylvania that was Wolfman Recordings, which we didn't work with them for a long time, but we ended up basically job sharing across the waters. And there came to a point where we thought, it'll be really good, considering we've got this big team of producers internationally, if we could kind of play music to each other and suggest edits and different ideas. So we found this platform called U Broadcast, which was your typical internet streaming kind of site, but you could only have 8 listeners on there, which is all we happened to need at the time. Set up that, started playing music to each other. And it was just like proper nerdy production talk, like super nerdy. And then this annoying Scottish fellow started listening, and he was taking up one of the slots that we desperately needed for one of our producers. Which is, our very first listener was this Scottish guy, and he's like, I love it, it's brilliant. I'm going to come every week. I'm like, please don't. So we ended up paying the £2 or something for a higher level subscription on it. And then more people started listening. And originally it was just between the few studios. I hate to say there's no short answer to this question, by the way, Bill. So cut me off if I need to.
No, go ahead.
We started doing this show, not as DJs, but people were listening. Weird run back connection. That Scottish guy is now a DJ with our station that does 5 days a week. So we were doing that, and then this guy called Oliver Tooley ended up being quite a big name for a while in the independent industry. Created this campaign called Get an Unsigned Band into the Charts, or Gubic. He's also one of the guys, if you go back a few years, who was working with Wes White, who did the Get Rage into the Charts campaign when they got Rage for Christmas #1, like 4 or 5 years back, however long it was. So the idea was they had this group of 300 bands that they whittled down into one the idea was to vote them down, and then one would be picked, and everyone involved, all the friends, fans, bands, band members, managers, whatever, would all go and buy this one track on Amazon and iTunes to get it into the charts. But it was kind of stuck, that campaign was. So he came to us after gaining probably a handful of listeners on this U broadcast and says, well, you do broadcasts. How do you feel about airing these 300 bands for me? And we were like, well, I guess we've got a bit of time. Yeah, all right, then we'll do it in our spare time on a night. And we ended up doing this weekly 3-hour show for the Goobit campaign, slowly processing through all of these 300 bands to make sure that people who were voting for the bands had a chance to listen to them all. And we ran a few little competitions. And then some absolute bleephead decided to give people my email address. And my inbox was full of bands going, can we have some airplay too? I'm like, oh, okay then. So I ended up doing another 3-hour show a week job, which were all the bands that were not part of the Goobit campaign. And then I got more emails and more emails and more emails until I had to start asking other people to do shows for me. And kind of 2 years later, 12 years ago, we were at the point where we accidentally just became this 24-hour radio station broadcast, which was ridiculous. So yeah, I had no intention of doing it. And it was just kind of my typical mentality of feeling like I owe the world everything. You want airplay? Okay, I owe you airplay. Let's go and give you some airplay. And now, we get thousands of submissions every single week. And it just got to the point where we now have a radio station. What more that's about it, really.
That's the Pennsylvania Rock Show started out on accident as well. I was in contact with a woman named Holly in Texarkana, Texas. And at the time, she had a son who was 14, who would now be 30, to put that in perspective. He was running a station, and I can't remember if it was called Unsigned Online at that point or if it was called Indie Band Radio. I think it was Unsigned Online. He got a cease and desist order and had to change names. But he was 14 years old. He's running a station. It was all unsigned bands. And at the time, I had just started my website, akmusicscene.com, because being blind at the time, I thought that I was going to stay in the Alikiski Valley, which is where I live. And now I'm broadcasting on your station in the United Kingdom. I'm broadcasting in Canada. And but anyway, so he was streaming, and his streaming computer ended up with a virus. And he had like 600 people, and it was a downtime that were listening. And he was like, I really need to shut down, but I can't. And I told him, I was like, look, I've been working on band websites. I have some music here. I could probably take over for a little bit if you teach me how. And that's when I realized I didn't have a microphone. So I called the lead singer from the band Cage, who we were talking about off the air when I was talking about the drummer.
Oh, right.
And he showed up with the microphone. And we were on air for about 3 hours. When we got done, he looked at me and said, that was fun. We should do that again. And then he showed up the following week with a board, and there were about 15 musicians here. And not knowing what we were doing, they played covers. Yeah. And it just continued from there. It's been weekly. The bands used to play live in the room I'm sitting in up until the point where I had the twins. Then it turned into the more of a podcast format. But yeah, everything and all of it I've walked backwards into. AK Music Scene just happened. PA Rock Show just happened. Build the Scene. I bought the domain and had a different plan what I was going to do with it, and it turned into what I'm doing now. So
I've got to say, with independent industry specifically, I've noticed that the best of the best tend to be the people that didn't mean to do it in the first place, which must be really infuriating for a few people out there. But yeah, I think especially in the independent industry, something that's been generated organically and kind of inadvertently. I like the fact that Catherine's just said, we both sound like happy little accidents. Quite true. And yeah, it was almost accidental how we kind of fell into each other's laps, and now we're doing this, which is cool.
Hey, let's pretend to take a break right here, and so I have somewhere to split. So normally I would play the featured band song at this point. I don't know who I'm going to play, but we'll play somebody. But the reason I'm putting this break here is so I can find it later when I go in to cut the audio.
Okay.
And what we'll do is we'll pretend like we're coming back, and then I'm going to ask you some of my off the wall questions.
Wicked. This is I love these bits.
Unfortunately, let me think. I'll just say we play Dragline.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what song. You know what? We'll do one that I know I can't mess up. We'll do Cage, since we've been talking about Cage. They haven't been together in forever, but
okay.
All right, that was Cage Bombs. This is episode number 562 of the Pennsylvania Rock Show. With me tonight is Tizz from XRPRadio.co.uk, also known as ZERP. I need to get that pop filter. I had one. My kids broke it.
Yeah, it happens.
All right, so I promised you that I was going to ask you some of my off-the-wall questions.
I'm excited.
Are you a musician at all?
I am.
What do you play?
Oh God, I don't have short answers to things. I'm a grade 8 string instrumentalist, so violin, viola, cello, double bass, mandolin, banjo, guitar, electric bass, ukulele, anything with strings. I play a bit of piano and I can bash a drum kit, kind of. But don't put any wind instruments near me because I make an awful racket.
That's what my kids do. I have a clarinet player, a flute player, and a brass. I have trumpet player. Although he also plays the fife, the harmonica, a little bit of piano, and he did take some guitar lessons at one point too.
Very cool.
But anyway, so I can use that to my advantage since you are a musician.
Okay. I feel like I've just given you ammunition here.
Well, are you familiar with Robert Johnson, the blues player?
Very vaguely.
Okay. So the story is that he was a terrible guitarist, and he was always going up on stage in between people's sets and trying to play the blues, and they would chase him out. And he disappeared for like a year, and he came back, and he was a phenomenal guitarist. And the rumor that went around was that he met the devil at the crossroads and sold his soul to be able to play the guitar. Yeah. So my question for you is, if you ended up waiting that crossroads and the devil showed up, what would you sell your soul for?
Oh, a day off. No, seriously. Actually, no, seriously, a day off. No, something along the lines of one of the biggest things that I think this is just going to make me look like independent music advocate of the year here, but there's so much drama in the scene these days. There's so many people that are posting their behind the scene quarrels in public. And, you know, I understand that people have got the right to be annoyed or hurt with each other's actions or whatever. But when we've got mainstream musicians, labels, people looking at us, you know, possibly to be bringing the next big thing up, and they see all these, you know, very personal quarrels. Sometimes it's personal to the level of a couple have split up and they're on 2 different company boards or something. And it just makes us look really stupid. So yeah, I wish I would sell my soul if Facebook had 2 things: 1, a breathalyzer, and 2, an anger filter. That just in both cases just made it turn around to you and go, come back in an hour and then retype what you were going to say. And if everyone's Facebook had that on it, I would be a happy man.
So I once interviewed a band called Diesel Beast out of Denton, Texas. And this next question is named after them because they just had the greatest answer ever. And what I asked them was if they could play a gig with any band in the history of the world at any location, who would they want to play with and where would they want to play?
Why?
And I'll give you their answer. You want me to give it to you before you answer or after?
Oh, I'll say before just to kind of make mine look a lot tamer, I presume.
So their answer was that they wanted to play with Dio at Stonehenge.
That is cool. That is a very cool answer. I probably don't have anything as cool as that at all. What I would like to do is, it's hard to pick one. And as I said earlier, you know, I'm not really up to big knowledge in mainstream music. So my answers are probably going to come across quite obscure. But I would like to play as a collaboration of independent artists that I work with and have kind of worked for and on behalf of on my wedding day. I think that would be cool to have kind of an independent music festival wedding thing. I don't know. It sounds like a logistical nightmare now I'm talking about it.
I mean, be interesting. You'd probably have some party crashers.
Oh, indefinitely. I think part of that's encourageable, if anything. I'm one for the last festival that I ran with XRP was back in 2012-ish. But yeah, that was just full of party crashers. We had a 12-band lineup and they ended up being 25 bands on the bill.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was good fun.
If you could go back in time without breaking the space-time continuum, so Doc Brown doesn't yell at you, okay. And you could hang out with any band and do an interview, who would you want to interview?
Oh, probably the Chili Peppers before they found too many. Well, they already had found drugs, but you know, too many drugs. When you could still speak to them in an interview, and before they got too much corporate media in them and they kind of went pop back in their funk days. Mainly so, not so much for the interview, but mainly so I could tail around to them and go, "Don't make the Zephyr song." And that would be the main reason.
So I don't know if you've caught wind of this, but I've been asking this question a lot in the last like 2 years. I tend to name questions. This one is the Dave Grohl question. You are familiar, I can tell.
Yes.
Good. Maybe he'll hear about it. You've heard about it. The question is just simply, if you could go up on stage and play with any band, who would you want to play with? But it's based on the fact that the Foo Fighters are known for bringing people up on stage.
I kind of want to go back into the past and do the Chili Peppers again, but I wouldn't do it now. That's a difficult one. I don't really like any bands that are alive that other people would know or haven't ruined themselves. I guess it would probably be this is going to be an obscure answer, but there's a band called Donkey that we play quite a lot. That generally have a lot of collaborative artists with them. And I would love to be able to be part of some. I think their one thing was 19 musicians on stage, and I just like the idea of that, having kind of almost a band orchestra going on to perform as a big collaborative piece. Would just be a cool thing to do. Yeah.
I like that answer. The whole Foo Fighters thing came about because my favorite thing that I see that happens in the local scene here is when a band is out supporting another band and they notice, they'll bring them up on stage and they'll do a cover so that that person can participate in the
that's really
show.
cool.
And I don't know what she's talking about. You're gonna have to help me out here.
So Let's Do It was I think she's on for the wedding plans.
Oh, okay.
Crazy woman. And Anthony Price is one of the members of Donkey, which I presume may be in she's obviously just tagged him in on Facebook to try and drag him in. He's probably in bed, love.
Let's see. So I've watched some documentaries recently. Like I watched one on Robert Johnson a couple weeks ago. I watched the one on Motley Crue and The Dirt. I watched Bohemian Rhapsody recently. If you were to play a musician in a documentary, what musician would you want to play?
What kind of question is this? Oh dear. That is a hard question. I kind of want to defer to the missus again now, which I know she's listening, because I can't think who I'd be good at playing. I'm far too self-absorbed to play anyone that isn't me. Probably. You know what? Someone like Deadmau5, because then I'd just have the thing on my head all the time, and I wouldn't actually have to act too well because I'm terrible at it. Anyone with a mask, Slipknot, fine, cool, as long as I don't have to open my mouth or actually have my face on screen.
I don't think she's up for helping you.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
I think she blinked too.
Yeah, anyone with a mask, I'm good.
Who are some bands that you've played on? She said someone with a poor British accent.
I really want to swear lots right at the moment, but I'm trying to hold my tongue.
Who are some bands that you play that you think the listeners here should go out and listen to?
Oh wow! I mean, some of the bands that I think would be excellent for you guys to find out, but I feel like, well, some of the best ones. The worst thing is they've stopped playing music at the moment. But I mean, there was a British band called Buried from Below that played our festival that are heavy beyond words. They are so loud. There's a band called No Paradise, which we've just come across. Who are they've got their very heavy side, but they're also kind of almost Mars Volta kind of progressive points, which works really well. I mean, there's a ridiculous amount of stuff. Black Lakes, excellent, kind of very heavy melodic rock band. Smashing to Pieces, they're massive at the moment, especially over here.
They're a folk band, right?
No. They're quite weird. They're one of these new wave kind of heavy metal rock / electro bands. At some points they sound really poppy, and at other points they sound really kind of less so. I know my other half has mentioned a few that are less rock and metal orientated, but Investigator from New Zealand. Funny, we were talking about New Zealand before we started the show. Yeah, they're a great kind of indie rock band. Foxtrap. If you like electronic music, you can't really do much better than Foxtrap. Full stop. They're stunning. The Third Bridge can be unique at times, shall we put it that way. One of they've made a death metal polka, and a country metal song. So definitely good fun with some of the music, and the other stuff is just kind of really beautifully well thought out, crafted kind of acousticy music. So they do have a serious side. I think that some of the weirder stuff is under one of the many other pseudonyms of Craig Hecht. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many. I could go on forever, but this is one thing that I do for a lot of people. If anyone ever add me on social media, not a problem. It's Tizz Shearer, TIZZSHEARER. I'll add anyone for a while, and if you annoy me too much, I'll get rid of you. But a lot of people will just kind of get in touch with me and go, I'm in a metal mood today. Suggest me 10 metal bands, and I'll do that. Because, you know, aside from the radio, it's all about getting the music out there and getting it new listeners. So if I've got legitimate people that are going to listen to good music, I'll always refer stuff. Gravehuffer. Now, if you want super heavy, Gravehuffer is where you want to go. They are doom in music format. If you like having breeze blocks thrown at your eardrums, Gravehuffer is the one that you want. And if you also like breeze blocks thrown at your ears, I do have a great psychiatrist that I can put you in touch with.
Well, that's on the Pennsylvania Rock Show. We'll play anything that's acoustic, clear up to any of the subgenres of metal and anything in between. But on 3 Questions in a Song, we've done country, we've done hip hop, we've done rock, we've done metal, we've done basically whatever is sent our way. Electronica.
Yeah. I mean, I could do a genre by genre kind of rundown easily. Hip hop, you want Noddy NT, definitely. Electro, Foxtrap, 100%. Metal, great. I mean, doom, growly, evil metal, definitely Gravehuffer. What else have we got? Jazz. Anything by the Tank Collective. Country. I should probably tell my missus because I don't like country. Silverline, the Silverline. There you go. That'll do. Kind of acoustic folk. Sound of the Sirens. They're massive at the moment. All of these, yeah, easily to find on Facebook if you can remember the name. And again, if you're interested in any of them, just grab me on Facebook and I'll or any other social media. I'm either at Tizz XRP or XRP Tizz on any social network that you can find. And I'll happily send you the links to any of them.
Let me think of maybe 2 more questions. Let's see. So I taught social studies for a couple years, and I was flipping through the social studies book, and I found a picture of what looked like my college roommate. I mean, to a T. But the guy who in the picture died in 1958, and my college roommate is 44, so it's clearly not him. But my question is, if I was flipping through my social studies book and I found a section about Tizz, why would you be in there?
Oh, I know the missus is going to pop up with some horrific comments soon. Social studies, how to lose your mind quickly, how to work off 2 hours sleep a night. I don't know. Probably the wrong reasons. That's all I know. Oh, she just went for no comment. Oh, dear. Yeah. You know, in a good way, you know, I'd hope it would be how to bring people together, no matter what their difference is. You know, I like to smash down those boundaries and genres. I'll play a metal track and I'll play a hip hop track, and I'll get metalers to like hip hop, and it'll get hip hop artists to like metalers, and you know, that's kind of what it's all about. Forget politics, religion, background, economics. You know. I'm trying to do a really nice piece here about bringing people together.
She stopped us both mid-sentence.
Oh dear. I told you to try and get people to listen, not stop people from having anything to listen to. Yeah. I you know, on a good way, serious note, I'd like it to be something about, you know, bringing people together. But Kat's probably quite right in the fact that it'll be something about slowly losing your mind after not remembering to sleep, eat, breathe, go to the toilet, have a wash for 2 weeks whilst you're trying to finish a project or something like that.
All right, last question for you. Shortest question. What's up next? I know, long answer, short question.
Yeah. For XRP as a whole, are we saying?
Yes.
We've got a lot of different things that we're toying with, to be honest. We've just released a brand new website, which is a new platform. We've got our own digital distribution center, so we're selling music on our website, which means we don't have we've cut all the costs, unlike iTunes, Amazon, CD Baby, all that take 25 to 35% of fees and transaction fees. We only cover the cut. We don't take any money ourselves. We cover the card transaction fee, which is 10% or lower, typically lower. So it's the best kind of distribution sales place. Basically, we're giving you your money that you deserve, in short. So that was a big kind of release. We want to push that a lot harder than we have been at the moment. We've just been trying to really clean up the platform and make sure it's competitive to those big giants, and starting getting interest in that. We've toyed with the idea of television, the kind of old school MTV style, stuff. But I mean, one of our main things is to do it on an international level, and we don't just want to, be another version of YouTube or something like that. We always like to carve our own niche. We might bring back festivals. It's been a good 6 or 7 years since we've been in that kind of area. But as always, with everything that we do, it's by accident. We now have our own social network on the site, which we didn't intend to. We just found out that we could. We had a wall. People started using it. And we're trying to push it forward to becoming, let's get away. See, Kat knew what I was going to say. To get away from Facebook and the pictures of kittens and everyone's aggressive politics and all that. I don't want to see your terrible food. 9 times out of 10 people really proud of this plate of food, and it's horrific.
I'm guilty of that sometimes.
I'm sure your food looks lovely, but I do have an unfortunate amount of British people on my Facebook, and our culinary skills aren't as exciting as elsewhere in the world. So yeah, we kind of fall into everything. Nothing's off the table with us, and we'll just kind of go where we naturally can kind of carve ourselves a niche that is unique, that isn't just another YouTube, another iTunes, another this. We always want to be this is right, the tiny story behind this. My dearest mother cooked a chili, and she makes a fantastic chili 9 times out of 10. But we had no red kidney beans, and she thought an adequate replacement for red kidney beans were Heinz baked tomato beans.
Heinz, that's from Pittsburgh.
Is Heinz Pittsburgh?
Yes, it is.
There's me thinking it was a very British company.
Nope,
no
Pittsburgh.
No way. Well, yeah, Heinz baked beans were apparently an adequate replacement for kidney beans in a chili. So yeah, I found what I thought was a normal chili in it wasn't. It was a frozen baked bean chili. I would advise against it. That's all I'll say.
Tonight I had a Philly steak and cheese grilled cheese.
A steak and cheese grilled cheese.
Yes.
Does that mean there's extra cheese to the cheese?
There definitely was.
Sounds good to me.
And it came from King's Family Restaurants, which is also a very Pittsburgh place. But
see, our King's Family Restaurants over here all do like curried foods and Indian starters and stuff like that. So that's quite different. What I actually had tonight was just a good old typical deep pan pizza, which was very nice. The bean chili was yesterday. I haven't really recovered from it. But yeah, I'll show you a picture, but all I have is an empty pizza box next to me. If you're wondering, if anyone watching me is wondering why I'm just looking over here randomly, just reminiscing about food.
The best deep dish pizza I ever had was that one day I spent in Chicago.
I've been told a lot about the Chicago deep dish pizzas, and my partner is incredibly aggressive in the fact we have these pizzas over here, little microwave pizzas, and they're called Chicago Town Authentic Deep Dish Pizzas. The one thing that she can't abide by is the fact that they're called Chicago Town, because Chicago is not a town. And the fact that the cheese is the wrong way around, apparently, because Chicago pizzas put the cheese under the sauce, which is really bizarre. I mean, I'm sure I'll have one and I'm sure I'll love it, but no.
Listen, I told you off the air that it's the coldest place I've ever been in my life, but I would go back to get another pizza.
Okay.
So
I might give it a go. I mean, our Chicago Town pizzas are lovely, but apparently they are nothing like a real Chicago Town. Chicago, not town, city pizza, before I get my head axed later.
And the Detroit style deep dish pizzas are okay. They are not Chicago.
Okay.
So if you want to work your way up, start with the Detroit and then get the Chicago.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
All right. Well, Tizz, I want to thank you for hanging out with me on episode 562.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And it's been a long time coming that we've spoken together, so I must drag you into one of my shows at some point.
It'll have to be a weekend, like today.
Yeah. I'll definitely do it on a weekend, and I'm definitely going to have some more obscure questions for you. We may end up toing and throwing a battle of the questions for a while here now. After that entourage of
almost all of them have stories behind them. I'll give you an off-the-air explanation to the ones I asked you. But this has been episode number 562, the Pennsylvania Rock Show. Make sure you check us out each and every Friday morning at 6 a.m. on buildaScene.com. It is on the radio station that unfortunately is an auto DJ one, because time is not my friend, on buildaScene.com/radio. It airs on xrpradio.co.uk multiple times, and I don't remember them off the top of my head.
The main slot is 7 till 9 p.m. GMT. So what's that? 2 till on a Monday.
It'll be an hour, so it'd be 2 to 3.
I think we do 2 in a row because
2 in a row. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be 2 to 4.
Yeah, 2 to 4. Oh, is this going to end up? Am I going to get interviewed on my own station?
You absolutely are.
That's going to look wonderfully egocentric. Excellent. Well, we'll let that happen then.
So Tizz and I are going to head off into the night, and the rest of you are going to hear some more of the best unsigned rock and metal that Pennsylvania has to offer. And when you hear John, the American Hill Jacqueline's voice, you will know that the episode has ended. Make sure you stay on the station you're listening on, because they are providing you with more of the best unsigned rock, metal, and other genres that there are in the world. We'll catch you next week.